Ingon, way buwas ang pagdaig ko. Magpabiling ka, nindughan ko. I love Cebu, handi ka, nindughan ko. I love Cebu, isingit ko ng kalibutan. Ang way lang na ikaw ipasigago ko. I love Cebu. Bisag asa ko, kaingon ay bukas ang kalipay ko. Bisag asa ko, kaingon ibang hambog beauty ka. Bisag asa ko, kaingon ay bukas ang pagdahi ko. Magpabiling ka, nindughan ko. I love Cebu, bahandi ka, nindughan ko. I love Cebu, isingit ko ni Kali.
All right, here we go, ladies and gentlemen, from the sports capital of the South, Cebu. It's Bleacher Talk Live here on the Facebook page, Bleacher Talk Cebu. Mayang gabi, ladies and gentlemen. This is Rico Navarro once again, bringing you another 1 hour of having fun and chat here with a special guest of ours who will be joining us in a very short while. This week has been a very tough week for us. When you talk about, well, we heard about the UST bubble, the allegedly UST bubble. We're hearing about the IATF guidelines right now coming to the fore. What should be done? What can we do? What can we not do? And all that. So today we have a very special guest for you. You saw our plugs about him already. And let's talk to him and find out exactly what can we do or what can't we do in this pandemic. But aside from that, we'll also talk about many other things. Now, in the Philippine Sports Commission, some people have even asked me if they can ask about his old Toyota days, but we will see. We'll try to fit all that in 1 hour. And so without further ado, I'd like to bring in our special guest for today. I know him. He's a commissioner now, but I know him more as El Presidente. I'm a big fan. El Presidente, commissioner now. Let's call on him Mr. Don Mon Fernandez.
Hi, Rico. Maayong gabi kaninyong tanan, labi na sa atong mga kaigsuunan din sa Cebu. And of course, to all other viewers, I believe we are live in Facebook, Rico?
Yes, over the Bleacher Talk.
All those who are tuned in now, magtsaga na muna tayo dito sa Facebook. Good afternoon to you all. And let me remind you ahead of time to just stay safe during these days.
Very true. Stay safe indeed would be the main message of everybody right now. But my first question for you, Commissioner, is this. No, you have to fill in the blanks. I ask all my guests this. Mm-hmm. Sports in this pandemic is blank.
Is at a standstill.
At status quo. Status. Could you please explain why status quo? Why standstill?
Well, we really have to give priority to our health nowadays, Rico. To survive this pandemic, no, there's nothing much that we can really do. We need to follow the protocols that are put in place by the IATF. So we just have to follow that. Since March, when the ECQs, the quarantine periods were started by the IATF, we had to cancel, in fact, all our programs all over the country. We had lined up several sporting events, coaching clinics, and what have you. The PNG, the Philippine National Games, was supposed to be played this year too, and several other children's games all over the country that we were holding. We had to scrap everything, no? Survival first is the key nowadays, really. Until such time that we can find a vaccine for this pandemic, then there's not much what we can do. Although we can help as individuals. Individually, we can do our share to stay home, follow the protocols of wearing a mask, face shields, washing of hands, and distancing. Very important, really, is the distancing, no? As has been explained to us over this past 6 months. So that's all what we can really do, Rico. In fact, we are waiting for the guidelines of the IATF with regards to our request when we can start bringing back our national athletes who have qualified for the Olympics and those who are still trying to qualify. We still have a lot of athletes who has to go through qualifying rounds to qualify for the Tokyo Olympics. If that goes through, no? Still, that is still a big question. So we are at that stage, really.
Interesting indeed. Although everything that you mentioned there, Commissioner, we'll talk about those one by one because actually, sa'yo pa lang, Commissioner, nanay ni comment. Ed Malatag, one of your biggest fans in Manila, he's, by the way, based in Manila, he says, sports is second priority. Totoo po yan. Master Ed Malatag yan. Jonas Penerio, sa'yo pa lang. Sports in this pandemic is on hold, but I guess you've got to remind some schools about that. Okay, we'll talk about that later on, Jonas. Cool ka lang.
I know what Jonas meant.
Okay, interesting. Anyway, let's talk about that, Commissioner, because I mean the hottest issue in town right now is basketball. You happen to be a former basketball great of the country, and there are those reports. Now, investigations are going on right now, but there are those reports that UST had allegedly put up a practice bubble in Sorsogon under Coach Alvin Ayo. Of course, but I'll put judgment on hold for that. But the first thought is, when you first heard about that, what was your first reaction, both as a commissioner and also as an athlete, or did you have two different thoughts about that?
Well, generally, as a whole, as a sportsman, I think I felt it was a bad discretion for them to do that. No, for one, the IATF has given us the protocols to follow. So let's leave that to the IATF and maybe the CHED, no, being the higher education department, no. So let's leave it to that. We do not have direct control over them, although they are under us in the sense that we have supervisory and visitorial power over all amateur events, sports in the country. But I believe it should be the CHED and the IATF who should give a decision on what to do with these guys. As we said, priority natin kami sa PSC. In fact, the moment nag-start na yung mga quarantine natin, nag-start na yung problema sa pandemic, we sent all our national athletes who were billeted here in Manila at the Philippine Sports Commission facilities, boarding houses. We sent them all home, no, to be with their families, no, to stay put there, train on their own until such time that mag-loosen up, malibre o gamay na labi na para sa mga team sports, no. So you just have to practice on your own, stay in the best of shape possible, no. So we'll just wait, Rico, for the decision of the IATF.
Yeah, that's a good point. They're waiting for the decision of the IATF, and more importantly, reminding people about the safety protocols. Which brings me to my next question, Commissioner, because what I'm very worried about right now, it's not about the bubble, but on Facebook, you get to see a lot of videos, even pictures. Just recently, yesterday, Sunstar came out with a picture. There's an actual game going on. Duda na ko, pustaan na ito siya. Kanang nakahukas na lang, nakachinelas lang. in a barangay. They did not state what barangay that was, but it took very familiar. I just the place to, but in public, murag daghan man good. I remember when Alaska Mambaling was on lockdown, naagay gyapoy gudwag basket. But what message can we send? I mean, this is not even about private teams, organizations, but kini the general public ba nga init kay gusto mo duwa, kustaan siguro niya. What message can we send them?
Well, I guess, Rico, there's not much messaging we can do already right now. That has been taken care of by the government. Dili ta makaingon nga wala tagi-warningan, no?
Yeah.
So, I guess those guys who cannot follow will just have to answer up to the consequences of what will happen to them, no? Kung say may tabo nila, they've been properly warned. Na dili komedya ning pandemic. We've seen it. In fact, labi na din na sa ato sa Cebu City nga nahimo tang epicenter for a while. Thank God, arang-arang na ron, i-improve na pagayo. Nisunod na mga tao. Really, there's not much we can do except to keep on repeating our warnings to them, no? The protocols that we have to follow, because this is really the only way we can stop this pandemic, no? There's the proper distancing and the wearing of masks and hand washing and all of that, no? So, yeah, I think the government was not lacking in reminding the citizenry with the protocols. No?
Yeah, I agree with you on that, and I guess it's the kanagaling mga kanang gigil kay gusto gumuduwa, gusto pasingot for over how many months na. But sige lang, we just remind people the best way to, like, I like what you said. They will have to pay for the consequences if ever. And of course, I pray that they don't get COVID, of course. But
yes, that's correct.
It is a possibility that they could go positive if they risk themselves too much, no?
Exactly.
Okay, well,
As we know, awahira bagyod ang pagbasol, no?
Yeah.
So let's not make that happen. What is important, Rico, is those athletes or even the regular guy who wants to stay in shape can do it on his own, no? Alone, yes, in his room or in their yard or in front of their streets, especially now that GCQ na kadaganan o MGCQ na ang uban. So there are other ways of keeping yourself, in top shape, no? For basketball players or basketball athletes, this is the time, perhaps, you develop skills, no? To develop skills, because you can develop your skills. A big typical example is your ball handling skills, no? You can go to YouTube, look at the drills there. Makapagpasingot ng yung todo, no? Wala lang yung 5-on-5 or 1-on-1 at this moment. So, stay in top shape and develop your skills, individual skills, no? Agility and all that, strength and the best condition that you can get yourself into.
Which reminds me, Dr. Dejanio and Dr. Nel Cantillas will be joining us next week, and they'll be giving us tips, actually, Commissioner Mon, on what you can do and what you cannot do in this time of pandemic. So, plug lang ko na next Monday, Dr. Roel Dejanio and Dr.
That should be exciting to follow. Dr. Dejanio, we know him. He's the only IOC recognized doctor, no?
Yes.
International Olympic Committee doctor in the country, no? So he knows what he's saying. He's the champion for that. He's a master of that. All those drills you can do on your own. I've been following him in his Facebook account, and I just couldn't follow his exercises. So I just watched it.
Di na kaya. Anyway, Commissioner Mon, I'll step into, I'd like to follow through on the question or what you said earlier. No? So what else can they do in this pandemic? We know that the PSC sent the national athletes home, but I know you've been also busy online. I don't think you were not busy at all. In fact, you've been very busy. Could you share with us now what other things the Philippine Sports Commission has been doing, no, to keep them busy? I know that the coaches' course was there, the new law was passed. Could you please share with us those latest developments? Because I know that the PSC has not been idle at all. No?
Well, we are cleaning the house right now during the pandemic, Rico. The PSC house, the Philippine Sport. As you know, na nasudlan mi og padding issue sa what you call this payroll ng mga atleta and coaches, no. So we've taken care of that. We've changed the department heads. Even we have a new executive director in Attorney Eroy. He's a long time PSC man already, no. He knows the PSC in and out, no. So he's taking care of the possible, the necessary changes rather in the personnel department of the PSC, working hand in hand with the NBI, also the Solicitor General's Office and the Department of Justice for the cases that are going to be filed for those employees that were involved. No? But aside from that, we continued. The only thing we can do really right now also, we continued our coaching certification program by the Philippine Sports Institute. No? We've started that before the pandemic, but nahunong because of the pandemic. But with the coming in of the Zoom and all those other applications for virtual meetings and all that, so we were able to continue our coaching certification programs. No? We've done 3 or 4 batches already from Visayas, Luzon, and I think Mindanao is also ongoing, no? All the way until November. No? So by November, we would have graduated in the first part of the program, the certification program, close to about 1,200 LGU, local coaches, yes. No? From LGU and DepEd and the private sector, those who joined. No? So, bantayan lang na nila sa Facebook page ng Philippine Sports Commission with regards to the schedule. The second portion of that would be the sports-specific clinics already. No? We will schedule that sometime January when hopefully do na vaccine, because in some sports we need to do man-to-man. I mean, yes. You know, harapan ba ato bangay yun, like basketball and other sports, no? That need actual contact, like we really have to demonstrate some moves in the different sports, no? Some tactics. So what is important is we get these coaches ready, no? Para when we came in our administration, Rico, that was really our main objective also, no? Mamuntoy sugo ni Presidente Duterte to bring sports to the periphery, to the communities all over the country. That's precisely why I requested that I hold office in Cebu to take care of the Visayas program, no? We did a lot of programs then since 2017. Again, it had to be stopped, but we will continue with that with the remaining year and a half or so that we have. No, also, I'm quite excited also because the Sports Committee of Congress has more or less passed the bill institutionalizing the Philippine National Games. No, they put in a budget for that. The organizing committee, those who will be in charge of that. No? So, dili na magkuwang sa budget as far as the Philippine National Games. Mura mo good na og Philippine Olympics na to, no?
Yes. Yes.
So, huwat na lang miss Senate version for that until ma-approve na siya, no? We're glad, we're very happy with our friends from Congress now, the young guys from Congress. By the way, it was our neighbor from Ormoc, Representative Congresswoman, the wife of Lucy Torres,
Lucy,
Torres
yes.
was the principal author of the PNG bill, no? So she was supported by everybody in Congress, no? And we're very happy for that, no? So priority gid namo karon, Rico, is the preparation for the Olympics. Those that have qualified already and those that are still going to qualify. We will be, I believe that we will be able to get back a portion of the budget that was taken from the PSE for the use to fight against COVID-19. So as soon as we get that budget, we have started to disinfect our facilities here at the Field Sports. Now we have at least maybe 5 or 6 facilities that we can use for the different sports, no? So yun una ang atong buhaton, ang preparation training, continuing training for the Olympics, for those who are here in the Philippines, because a few of them are outside the country, no? So maunay among sige plano yon. We are just waiting again from the IATF for the guidelines and the protocols. All the other NSAs that are still trying to qualify, they have given their program, their protocol on how to go about the training of these athletes. No? So we are in that stage right now. So hopefully by tonight, we will hear from the president kung unsa nay status sa different cities and regions and provinces in the country. I already know, but I won't tell you yet. No? Joke only. But it looks like it's easing up. So we're hoping that by at least by October we should be able to start the training of these Olympians, no? Coming in.
All right, I'll ask another question about that. But time out sa takadaya because we have some people who would like to greet you tonight. Daghang fans today, Commissioner.
Sure.
I don't know if you remember Graham McKinnon from Australia, all the way from Australia. He joins us all the time, no? Another
Okay.
Then we have, of course, the Jailma. I call him the Jailma. The Jailma Arnedo. Buenas noches, Senor Rico and Don Ramon. Okay, from
Yeah,
basketball.
Jalma.
Yeah, the Jailma, of course. And one of my favorites from Pampanga, of course, you know him, Mr. Gil Cortez. He doesn't sound familiar, no? Gil Cortez.
She looks similar.
Looks similar. Hello, Don Ramon and RD Rico. Stay safe. Stay safe, Sir Hill. Hope all is well in San Fernando. We have a visitor from Canada, Commissioner Mon, Christian Rodriguez.
Hello, Chris.
Buntag o kadlawon di sa Canada karon. Maybe if you can reply to us, Chris. I think in your part, I think it's early.
Asa man siya, sa east or west?
I'm not sure if he's in Toronto, but medyo kadlawon nga turon or morning. So Christian, if you can tell us how you are, what time is it there? Then we also Bayani Ladrido of Iloilo, Mayab nga gabi sa inyong duwa. PNG need to be re-engineered thoroughly, same with Batang Pinay. I was about to ask that. We'll put that on hold, RD Bayani. I'll ask about that, what we can do about the PNG. But my follow-through question, Commissioner Mon, with regard to that, the biggest concern we have right now, at least for me, would be the Olympics is there. It's next year already, assuming it goes through. But we know for a fact that to practice and to make it to the Olympics, you cannot do it in a matter of 2 to 3 months. It's a year-round thing, including training and competitions. Now, what are the plans to have them train? Are we going bubble? Are we going to put them in the cell and put a bubble or something like that? Any ideas so far that have come out, no, for the training of the Olympic qualifiers?
Well, as far as the training is concerned, Rico, we can do that in a bubble, right? As I mentioned, we are preparing the facilities here at the Philippine Sports Commission, Phil Sports in Pasig, no? Ang kulang lang yun is the competitions, no?
Yeah.
But sa tanaw na ko, ang ubang athletes man sa tibok kalibutan, dili man sila kayo makakompete, no? We're in the same boat altogether, although some, like in the States, they are already fighting there. Boxing, open na nila ang boxing. Professional. But I'm sure, hasta ang ilang amateur siguro, no? So, we just have to really find a way how we can make these guys compete in actual competitions in the respective sports, no? That's the key, no? We know that that's the key, no? It's the competition that makes an athlete really, no? To prepare them to improve and all that, no? We do have all the other factors needed ready, like the physiologists, the psychologists, the strength and conditioning coaches, their coaches, the nutritionists that we have at the PSA. They're all ready. So it's the most important really for me also is what you mentioned, yung competition nila, no? They have to be they should be able to compete with the best in the world as part of their training, no?
All right, Commissioner. Ni-reply ko si Christian Rodriguez rin. Malingaw tas yung tubag, Commissioner. Check this out, no? It's 4 a.m. Diri, Sir Rico and Mon Fernandez. Actually, we're camping with the family. Wa ko ka-sleep. Saw a black bear earlier this evening. Laughing out loud. Commissioner Fernandez Tisoy, my dad, Benji Rodriguez, sends his regards.
Cebuano ni si
Yes.
Chris.
Cebuano, Christian. Yes, Cebuano ni siya.
Isoy good yung gingon.
Oh, then he used to work for, he used to be at Sunstar also, Sunstar Sports.
Oh,
Eric Tuadles, glad to see her idol Mon, the brother, the youngest brother of Arnie, of course.
Of course.
He's also with us.
Eric.
Yes. Yeah. Muduwa siya ni si Eric. Muduwa pa ni siya. Okay. Anyway, having said that, though, Olympics, yes, we're preparing for that. Another concern here, Commissioner Mon, we are the defending champions or overall champions of the Southeast Asian Games. But ang nakalimtan na ba sa uban, every 2 years na ba na siya? Which means 2021. What do we do? I mean, if there's no competitions, what's the stand here so far?
POC President Bambol Tolentino is on top of that, no? In fact, after we've more or less prepared the preparations for the Olympics, that comes next, no? That's going to be sometime, I think, November in Vietnam, no? And yeah, we need to prepare also really for that. Although daghang sports ang dili duaon dito nga nag-medals ta, but I still believe we can still compete well there and perform well also because as we've proven it, as we've shown it, it's really about preparation of our athletes, no? In relation to what you said earlier, Rico, about their competition, no? It's really the competition is what makes the athletes, no?
Yeah.
So in our experience, in our preparation for the 2019 SEA Games, we sent almost practically all our athletes all over the world to compete in the best kinds of competitions, no? And that's the only thing we will do that also when the time permits, no? So that's going to be our next priority after the Olympics for next year, the SEA Games.
Yes, nice that you pointed out, Commissioner Mon. I was in a meeting just last Saturday with Eric Boain, one of our Olympians, and he talked about how crucial it was to really find competitions. And he narrated before, and he's happy to see it now. Before, when he was in the States, they had weekly trials, swimming trials. And
that's correct.
You cited now for the Southeast Asian Games, you talked about how we sent out a lot of athletes to different competitions, where they be, I mean, of course, international, then also here in the Philippines. And I think I agree. Without competitions at a certain level, useless keep on practice. Like EJ Obiena is doing well right now in Italy, No, although he's stuck there, nakuha ko ng
Yeah.
Luisan,
And
no.
Kaloy Yulo too.
Yeah. Kaloy. That's my next question. How, and Haydn Diaz is in, okay. Haydn Diaz, I understand, is in Malaysia.
Malaysia.
Kaloy in Japan. E.G. Obiane in Italy. How is the PSC keeping in touch with them? What is the program for them? Because I don't know, I'm guessing homesickness, mental health maybe. Your thoughts, please. I think we lost the commissioner a bit there. Commissioner Mon, napakadaya. We lost you for a second.
Still on?
Yeah, go ahead. Yes, go ahead, please.
Yeah. We created a team for each qualifier, Rico. A nutritionist, a physiologist, a psychologist, strength and conditioning coach, nutritionist, and all that, no? Masseurs and the works, no? Dili na patsamba-tsamba ron ang mudaog sa in competitions like this, no? That's where the sports sciences comes in already, no? So they all have that, no? Our national training director, si Mark Velasco, is constantly in touch with all of them, with all our athletes who are abroad. We get reports on how they're doing and what they're doing with regards to their preparations. No? But they are fully supported. No question about that. We are going to fully support them in their quest for, because nagtuo ko Rico, me personally, I think this is the best chance that we can garner multiple medals in this Olympics. No? We have several really good world-class athletes, Obiena, Yulo, Heidelin Diaz, Marcial, and the other boxers, especially the other boxers. No? They are world champions in their own rights. No? So Olympics na World Championship and Olympics, gamay na lang diferensya na. No? Siguro, mas taas lang tingali ang pressure sa Olympics, but the competition, sila-sila naman na. We're talking of the same athletes competing in those tournaments, in those leagues, no? So, napatay Marjeline Didal, no?
Yes.
So, we're hoping that maka-qualify sad, no? And of course, our judokas who are based in Japan, no? Several of them. We have some canoe kayak, no? But those first few athletes that I mentioned ahead, those are our biggest chance. Golf. What's her name? Sasso. Yuka Sasso.
Yuka Sasso, yes.
She has won her second straight LPGA tour in Japan, no? And I believe the top 60 lady golfers will be qualified to the Olympics, no? So, daghan kay tag mga atleta, I think, we're hoping that we can send mga 15 to 20 athletes to the Tokyo Games.
Which leads me now, because the impression, you talk to the common tao ba? And they say that, ganang typical, may gibuhat, ana. But I tell them, well, I have inside information. I know what the PSE is doing. I know what the NSAs are doing. But to the common tao, para nila, gibuhat. That's why I'm really happy that you mentioned all these things, because this leads me to my next question. With you guys on board right now with the PSC, not that I want to compare, what did you see was important to do now compared to your experience before, without citing any previous administrations or whatever? What do you think was the obvious one that, because people, actually, Commissioner, not many people know this. Not people to, bagulbol gyapon mo, magibuhat og gobyerno, ano ba?
Rico,
people share.
To tell you frankly, at the start of our administration, when we went around the country, I went all over the Visayas and even some parts of Mindanao and Luzon. Easily, more than 50% didn't know what the PSC is.
Yeah.
They think the PSC is the PCSO. Philippine Charity Sweepstakes and PSC. At least now, kailan na sila, because that was the first info drive that among gibuhat, no? We introduced what the Philippine Sports Commission is, no? Vis-a-vis, we explained to the to them unsay diferensya sa Philippine Sports Commission, sa Philippine Olympic Committee, and the National Sports Associations. What are their working relationships? No, so we had to explain that. That's why a lot of mayors and governors and several cities and towns were really happy that we went there and we brought the programs to them. No, we introduced it to them. We helped several cities and provinces organize their sports commissions. No, there were only a few cities. Cebu is lucky that the Cebu Sports Commission has been there for some time. All the others didn't have those. No, so pagsugod lang namo, kami pa nagpa-seminar sa ila. We called all their stakeholders in their locality and explained to them why it is important to have a sports program. No, we suggested to them that pwede man mo magsugod, labi na itong mga gagmayng mga towns or cities, they can start with 5 focus sports lang. No, ang Cebu, I believe, is more than 10 naman ang focus sports ninyo. No, so we really had to introduce what the PSC. But I'm glad that more or less now they know what the PEC and what we have done. Although sa una manggod kulang sa information, no.
Yes.
Thanks to the social media right now, dali na nila masundan kung unsay mga programa sa PSC.
Right, which leads me to the follow-through question again, because again, a common misconception is what the PSC is and what the POC is. Okay, I'll go to that question again. Could you please share with us, for the benefit of the general public again, what is the Philippine Sports Commission and what is the Philippine Olympic Committee, POC, and the federations under that? Before that, because I have Mark Solano of the SBP here, Coach Jerry Aboyabor is also with us. They're also with the SBP, the Samang Basketball. So again, the general public, what is the POC, what is the PSC and functions para mahibawan sa general public? Okay? So hey, masipit lang yapon. Palihit ko, sir.
But for one, the Philippine Sports Commission is an agency of the Philippine government under the office. We are directly under the office of the president. We are headed by a chairman of the commission, which is who is Chairman Butch Ramirez right now as the chairman of the commission, and there are 4 commissioners, 4 of us as commissioners. No, it is a government agency in charge of programming sports all over the country. When we say we are in charge of magprograma og sports development sa whole country, ang mandate gyud sa PSC is to come up with a national grassroots sports program all over the country. No, helping the palarong pambansa. We have under the PSC, we have the Philippine National Games and the Batang Pinoy program, no, and other sporting events, no, na among gisuportahan kaning labi na kaning giyong sa palarong pabansa, and even kanang mga small school organization leagues, SQA, UAP, NCA, but not so much on them, no. Okay. The PSC gets its funding from PAGCOR and supposed to be from the Philippine Charity Statistics Office, and a certain percentage from the taxes that are received or that are makita from all imported sporting what you call this equipments, no, a portion of that goes to the PSC, but bulk really of our budget for the PSC is from PAGCOR. By law, PAGCOR is supposed to share to the PSC 5% of their gross income, and a certain percentage from the PCISO and the others. Dili na kayo dagko. No? Okay? So, ang mandate yun sa PSC lagi mao ang to come up with a program for the citizens, no? Nakabutang dito sa law nga we have to make sure as naasad sa constitution nga we have to keep our citizenry healthy, no? And to do that, there should be a sports program that should be put in place. Okay, now we go to is that clear enough, Rico?
Oh, it's clear with me. I hope it's clear with our audience. Yes.
Yeah, you know. So
POC. Okay.
the POC, the Philippine Olympic Committee, that's the POC is the National Olympic Committee of the Philippines, no? All the countries that are member of the International Olympic Committees have NOCs, United States Olympic Committee, China Olympic Committee. Every country has that. They are under the International Olympic Committee.
Yes.
And Olympic Council of Asia, ilan man ang gi-divide. Ang Olympics under the IOC, ang Asian Games under the Olympic Council of Asia, the SEA Games under the SEA Games Federation. No? But all of them are under the umbrella of the International Olympic Committee, and they are private. No? In fact, ang PERMI, the same with that's the POC. No, the POC official dam is composed of officers of the different national sports associations, SBP, FIFA, sa padang lain, badminton, all that, no? Takraw, everybody. Ang mga presidente, doon na sila qualifications for them to be able to run as officers of the Philippine Olympic Committee, no? Under nila ang mga national sports associations. But they in themselves, the NSAs are independent and autonomous, no? In fact, the POC and the NSAs, they shun government interference, no? Moingon sila ayaw maghilabti, dili may makapanghilabot nila kung kinsay presidente nila, kinsay officers nila. No, makapanghilabot lang nila kung dili sila maka-liquidate sa mga financial assistance ng gipangayo nila from the PSC.
Definitely.
Dili sila gusto hilabtan na mo, pero ari sila sa PSC mangayo og funding.
Correct.
That's the irony of it, no? But it's very clear naman that we have what we call the visitorial and supervisory powers over them, no? If there are complaints by the athletes with regards to anything under the sun, we have a grievance committee, but that's really purely under sa POC gidunta. Kaya doon naman sa grievance committee ang POC, no? O doon na sa mga atleta maargabyado sa ilang National Sports Association, adtog yun sila una sa POC mo file of complaints, no? But if ang problema sa atleta is bahin sa ilang mga allowance na gikaltasan, they can go straight to us. No? We can handle that. With regards to funding already, because the funding, the allowances for these athletes and coaches are coming from the National Sports Development Fund, no? From the PSC.
Could you please share with us now the, shall we say, ganing best practices that you've had with experience of the PSC and POC or NSAs working together, then also the not so good experiences? I suppose kana liquidation medyo problema na, no? But could you please share with us how both sides can work together ba? Especially we all celebrate in Ikadaog, Southeast Asian Games, Hydrogen silver, etc. Pero og mapildi gani bungkag, bagulbol, kanang
PSC permi ang pasanginlan kung napildi.
Yes, precisely. Oh, okay. Could you share
that's
us
that's one thing that I have to make clear, no?
Yes.
I have to be clear of. With regards to the training and preparation of the athletes, responsibilidad na sa National Sports Association. Kami, mupondo lang nila, muhatag big kwarta nila to go abroad to train for their hotels, meals, transportation, wherever they go. Ang PSC mo provide, but as far as training them, hiring their coaches that they want to get, responsibilidad na sa National Sports Association.
Yes.
Rico, that's not daghan kayo ang wapatingay kasabutan ha. So ang may responsibility gyud tinuod sa performances sa mga athletes are the NSAs.
Yes.
Because especially during our term, we fully supported them 100% with all their financial requirements. No, in just to cite the case of the preparations for the Southeast Asian Games, the PSC spent more than $1 billion, almost 1.2 to 1.3 billion for the expenses of the players going abroad, hotels, accommodations, transportations, and all. No, so muna siya. What the PSC has been asking from the NSAs was to be, we accept them to be independent, no? To be gusto nila independent, dili may manghilabot. But we also are asking from them to be transparent, especially in their financial statements. No? Several, I'm not sure if all, but several of the NSAs are able also to get funding from the private sector. No? So it's in the law also that NSAs should be registered sa Securities and Exchange Commission. No? So dapat dito, ilang ibutang, every year, the SEC requires everybody, corporations and what have you, to file their annual financial statements. No? So we want them to be transparent also for that, because gamay ramang good, kuwang mangyod ang funding sa PSC. That's why kadtong mga maynglaki, mangayo, mangita og funding from the private sector, gusto na mo, isulti yun nila kung pilay funding makuha nila para punan na lang namo. Yes. No? Kay there are other sports na maglisod yun og kuha, no? Dili makuha kayo mga sponsors, mao to'y kinahanglan suportahan yun og mas dako-dako kaysa mga NSAs nga makakuha. A typical example, kamo sa SBP, wala mo may problema funding from MVP Foundation. No? Yeah. So may nalang ganin na pasalamat sa MVP Foundation nga daghan sa mga atletang gisuportahan. No? So inanabarik. So,
which again brings me to that the common question again when you go for the Olympic medal. Because the first question is, how important is that Olympic medal to us in the Philippines? And if you had your way, okay, I know it's a collegial thing, but if you had your way, what sport should we support? Because I have an idea with regard to weightlifting, boxing, those that don't require height. But if you had your way, where would you, kumbaga, ibukbo ang kwarta, pondo, to get that Olympic gold, or not Olympic gold, Olympic medal rather? Sorry.
Yes, at the inception of our administration, Rico, I have been fighting for that. But, you know, being political appointees kami sa PSC, and you know very well that there are several politicians who are officers also of the different NSAs, no? So I've been really, since the beginning, I've been pushing that ang PSC would choose a certain number of focus sports lang, no? There are, I think, as of now, about 34 Olympic sports, no? Yeah. 34, 35 sports being played in the Olympics, no? And I've been pushing that we only choose 15 to 20 maximum para magkasya ang atong budget, no? Compared to the other Southeast Asian countries, layo man kay tag diferensya sa budget good. Sa ato, hopefully at least karon sa kuan namo, sa administration namo, muabot naman ta og mga anywhere from 1.5 billion a year ang makuha na mo from Pagcor, no? As arang-arang na compared sa panahon ni Chairman Boots sa una atong 2008-2009 na nasa mga 800 million ra ang ilang budget, no? So ang Singapore na ana sa mga 800 million, ang Malaysia na sa mga 700 million, 600 million, mga Thailand, no? Layo yung kaita, no? So I've been pushing na mamili lang ta og individual weight category sports, no? Where we Filipinos have a chance to compete with the best in the world. You mentioned already boxing, weightlifting, table tennis, pwede pa na sila, mga karate, mga taekwondo, judo, weight category man god, no?
Yes.
Pareho mo og weight sa imong kontra, weightlifting, archery, several other sports, no? Kano-kayak, I've been pushing because of our country being an archipelago, daghan kay tag mga shoreline, taas kayo, open water swimming, no?
Yes.
But as I mentioned, manawag magod ang mga senador or congressman, oy, nagayang pundo. So, we have to make some compromises also with regards to that. Kaya kinanglan, we have to work together with the politicians because sila man ang maghatag og budget sa PSC.
Also.
No? So there's not much we cannot really say no 100%, no? So amo lang silang pakiusapan nga, okay, baura ni among explain to them, ask them for their help to give us more budget in the next budget hearing, no? And they are doing that right now. We're very lucky with the new congressmen and the new senators now that are helping us, especially sa Senado, sa Kongreso, ang mga batanon, mga congressmen, mga puro sports lovers, no? And swerte sa ta kay naana si Manny Pacquiao sa una, but karon ni palit si Senator Bongo sa Committee on Sports. Siya ang nagpabuhat sa National Academy of Sports, eskwelahan para sa atong mga kabataan, which we've been thinking of doing. In fact, basically that's what we wanted to start with, no, sa Philippine Sports Institute. That's basically the same, no. Imi-marry lang ng duha to streamline the operations for that, no? So yeah.
Yeah, I forgot to ask about that, Commissioner Mon, the National Academy of Sports. I forgot to ask about that earlier because I know it's a big ticket item of the PSC. Now that's into, could you please share with us the big idea and the objective of the school?
Well, at least kung doon na tayo mga batanon, mga bata, high school lang ni siya, Rico, no? We start with high school. Kani nga itong mga kabataan all over the country athletically gifted, no? Mapa-eskwela na nato og tarong, no? They will be given AAA studies and at the same time play their favorite chosen sports, no? So nindot kani, almost all countries in the world have that. Sa China lang, Rico, they have about 16 sports academies all over 16 provinces have their own sports, huge, big sports academies, no? So mga bata pa lang, ilan yung gisugda, no? So at least lalahos na lang, naabta na lang sa gulong pandemic, but that's going to be built sa Tarlac, Kapas Tarlac, where the facilities are. So may na-identify na silang area dito, but then again, na-put on hold because of this problem of ours, no? And we're hoping that, I don't know if we can still do it. We have a few remaining year and a half to go, because we really envisioned from the beginning. Now we have to put up regional training centers, no? I've suggested and we've identified Cebu City as one of the regional training centers in the Visayas and maybe one in Iloilo, and several, 2 or 3 in Mindanao, and also 2 or 3 in Luzon, no? So after the National Academy of Sports, that can spin off to the regional levels already. No? So kani nga itong mga elementary and high school athletes, student athletes, dili na una kinahanglan dadon dito sa National Training Center gyud, no? They can stay there, mature first there. With the time comes that they become qualified to be elite athletes, then we can bring them to the National Training Center in Capas, Tarlac.
Yeah, absolutely. I have a question for you, Commissioner, from Bayani again. Big also. But this is can the PNG be scrapped? No one is preparing for the PNG. It's only those that are free during the scheduled games that get to play. Unlike Palaro, where there are qualifying games from municipal to district, integrated, regional, and Palaro, so teams are really prepared for the Palaro. None of these are happening for the PNG. It might be a waste of people's money. Or I guess I'll ask lang siguro, or can the PNG be improved in terms of, whether it be implementation, execution, etc.?
Yes, it can definitely be improved, and we are trying to do that, Rico. No? Karon kompleto na sa doon na nag-budget for that, no? Coming from the GA, from the GAA. So i-streamline na mo ang operations sana. With regards to the qualifying, Rico, remember that the PSC has also the Batang Pinoy program, no?
Yes,
but of course the PNG are for the older brackets, no? That's why we encourage the LGUs to come. Ang Cebu City wala problema kay na may Cebu City Olympics god, no?
Yes.
They have their athletes, no? So what we are hoping is that all the other cities and provinces will have their own local competitions that they can identify their athletes, no? They can send their best athletes in all the sports that they're playing into the Philippine National Games. Although we are also still programming, trying to come up on how to go about the regionals competition for to be able to join the Philippine National Games. So, because all national team athletes will be joining the PNG. That can form part of their tryout for them to play for the national team. So it's being planned and met upon para ma-finalize, ma-streamline yun na to ang Philippine National Games.
Yeah, very clear. And my personal dream has always been, because sa Cebu Monggod, there's no problem with regard to talent and the pool. And my dream here is to have like a Cebu Olympics. But maybe not, because Cebu City na naman, but it's like a province-wide Cebu Olympics where you get either the 6 or 7 districts to be one delegation each. And this be aside from the Palaro and all that, because kaya man, the way I see it, kaya, but I'm not sure if the LGUs are very hot.
Yes.
What is the experience? Are the LGUs hot about it, or about sports, or then?
Well,
50-50?
I guess murag mapuwersa na karon Leo because Enrico, because sa PNG law ang mga cities and provinces at 1% of their era kailangan gamitin nila for a sports program. So dili na sila makaingon nga wala gyud sila budget for that, no? All those as far as the budgeting concerns are concerned, they are being addressed by the lawmakers, no, to make sure na gyud sila budget for that, no?
Well, that's true. Again, that's something also that not many people know. I mean, I knew about that, but the general public does not know that all LGUs are required to allot a percentage, 1% of the IRA for sports. In fact, in fact, Commissioner, I think there's a bigger percentage when it comes to recreation and whatever. Dako ba ganun?
Represents educational fund nila or something?
Yes, something like that. Plus napay for recreation and sports. Napa That's a different budget for that.
In fact, the SK, the Sangguniang Sangguniang Kabataan has 10%
yes.
For sports development, di ba?
Yes.
So it's really more of a question of LGU leadership kung sports-minded ba yun ang LGU officials or not. That's where the difference lies, no? So hopefully, inikapasar aning PNG, Rico, ma-disseminate na to ang information so they can already identify more or less asan lakwaon, kaibaw na sila kung asan lakwaon ang ilang budget for this, no? That's precisely why among gisugdan sa coaching certification. Din his coaching certification, Leo, Rico, 100 coaches per batch, no? 2 coaches per LGU, no? So after we're done with this, there should be a lot of coaches already certified sa level 1 sa mga towns and the different areas of the country, no? In time for institutionalizing all these games that the PSC wants to do, no? The PNG, the Batang Pinoy, and all that, no?
Good point there. I mean, time has flown, no? But anyway, I'd like to follow that up, no, with regard to the coaches' courses are not there just for paper. I mean, this was where I would like to push now the LGUs who sent their coaches that there should now be, I mean, when all is normal, baka nang after the coaching courses, dapat may nanay training, nanay program, nanay competitions, because you have the coaches course, but if LGUs don't put up sports programs, I hate to say it, pero useless ang coaches certification courses. Sayang kay ba, no? So, yeah, I hope the LGUs can step up and deliver on that part, no? And wow, like I said, I promise you I'll stay with you for 1 hour only, but there's so many things coming up right now.
That's right. Okay. We have all the time in the world, Rico.
Like, well, Coach Cars is asking, unsaon na mo pag-apil na, Sir Commissioner Mon? Kanang
okay.
Certification, yes.
Try to so may tawag nila go to the PSC website, no? You can email the PSC. There are email addresses there. If you are from the Visayas, Mindanao, or Luzon, doon ay corresponding email addresses. Just ask, no? But ang akong naibawan, you have to go to your local sports committees in your towns or cities or provinces, sports office ninyo, mag-register mo nga to so that you will be representing your municipality, city, or province, no? It's all there sa PSC website. Just ask, no? This is going on until kuan pa man sa noon November, but even then that's going to be a continuing program, no? Because from level 1 doon na patay level 2 up to level 3, no? We just want to standardize, Rico, ang certifications, coaching certificates, no? Because right now some NSAs, they have their own certification programs, no? So kinanglan i-standardize natin ang palarong pambansa, doon na sila coaching certification, no?
Yes.
So we want to put that into one program, good. Ma-unify ang atong certification process sa tanang coaches nato. So they will be on the same page with regards to training of our athletes, no?
Okay. Graham McKinnon comes back to make a comment. Antos, no? Not too many sports-minded officials in Cebu. That's why government infrastructure is lacking. Well, very true. Your thoughts about that, Commissioner? Sure.
Not too many.
Not too many sports-minded officials. There are not too many sports-minded officials in Cebu. That's why government infrastructure is lacking. I suppose sports complexes, sports centers.
Well, yeah. But a lot of LGU officials go to sporting events in openings and all that. No, but I must say, Cebu City has its own program, and Cebu City has proven that. Although I would say that kuwang pagyud gihapon tingali, no? Because you've proven that Cebu City won in the PNG of 2018, and Cebu was runner-up sa Batang Pinoy. Cebu City was runner-up. Batang Pinoy, the last one in Baguio, no? So I think the other cities and towns will just have to follow suit, no? The provinces, of course, no? Yeah, basically, it's really the facilities that are lacking, no? And but I believe the facilities will follow if we have sports-minded local government leaders, no? Because as they say, if you build it, they'll come, di ba?
Yes, yes.
So, you know, when I was growing up, Rico, every summer I would be in Cebu, no? And the baseball and the softball league was tops at the time, no? In the mid 60s, early 60s, the mid 60s, daghan kahit ang mga baseball players nga gipanguha sa mga schools diri sa Manila. I had cousins who played baseball here in Manila from Cebu, no? So wa na kayo, no? Mga baseball tournaments and the other tournaments, no? So it's really up to the LGU Mangyud Tinood to come up with sports programs. So. Although it's a bit expensive, but naman na sa budget nila. Good, no? That's being budgeted, allowed man na sa gaan na may budget for sports development.
It's true. Graham, just FYI, but here in Liloan, Graham used to live in Liloan also. They broke ground already for a new sports complex. I just hope it gets up in a matter of years. Of course, it's not that fast to build the sports complex, but that we're looking forward to that. They broke ground already, and I guess maybe give it 2, maybe 3 years max for that sports complex to arise here. Anyway, there's one more special request here, Commissioner, no? A big fan of yours is celebrating his birthday. Magpag-greet siya si Mr. Eddie Solano. Commissioner, if you can greet him a happy birthday, kuno.
Yes, Eddie, how are you? Happy birthday. Happy 10th birthday.
Okay. Big fan pa. Marang panahon pa rin nato in terms of that. Okay, then, I think they're from Manila. Because the son, si Coach Park, was with the coaching staff of the 3x3 team for the women's that won the gold in the Southeast Asian Games. Yeah. And I think they're from Manila now with the father of Coach.
Happy birthday, Ed.
All right. So Tony Del Prado says hello. The regional...
Hi, Tony.
The regional head for the PTA or Philippine Taekwondo Association here in Region 7.
Yes.
Commissioner, that's about it for us. I'd like to take this opportunity to thank you for joining us here. I've always wanted to have a chat with you here on Bleacher Talk Cebu, and I know a number of things that we know about, but I know that the general public does not know about, and I hope that they were, shall we say, enlightened through this talk, no? Galing POC, PSC. What's a good? Kinsa ba practice? Kinsa ba pondo? Okay, and not many people know about that, and not many people know that the PSC now compared to then. I mean, when you hear about you coming up with sports psychologists, strength conditioning coaches, masseurs, even the certification courses, I think it's like you said, it's a case of informing, advising the public about what's happening, and I really appreciate also when you said going out to the peripheries, no. Going out, because it's really something that you want to keep the nation healthy, and I think that's a very big thing. Yeah. So your final words then for tonight, Commissioner. Thank you very much for joining us. I don't like calling you El Commissioner because I call you El Presidente. But maybe have your final words lang as we say thank you for joining us tonight.
Yeah. First of all, thank you, Rico, for this chat, for inviting me to your program. This is a good time to discuss things when everybody is at home. Daghan makapaminaw, daghan makatanaw, no? So I hope really that we, labi na sa mga parents, no? Let your kids play sports, no? Ayaw nagsigig duwa sa computer, no? It's much healthier. They live longer and healthier if they involve themselves with a sport or two, no? Especially the younger ones when they're below 10 years old or below 12 years old. Let them pick up duha tulo ka sports, line na sports, no? So that by the time they're 13, 14, they would know, they can decide which sport they are going really to pursue, no? Again, we all know, everybody knows, dako kayong ikatabang sa pamilya kung naamoy mga atleta ang inyong mga bata, no? Dili lang sa health nila, but even sa ilang mga schooling, no? Kung manglaki sila sa sport nila, ilugan sila sa the best schools, the best colleges and universities here in our country and even abroad, no? We have several golfers and other swimming athletes who studied or able to study on scholarships abroad, no? Dako kayong tabang sa pamilya, but more importantly, we take them away from drugs, from the bad vices that is prevalent these days, no? So I hope we all encourage the kids to play sports. Ayaw lang saron, except kung doon mo itakong yard area sa inyong lugar o dool mo og fields, facilities nga dili exposed sa COVID, then that's okay, no? But again, let's all wait for the protocols, advice of the DOH and the IATF on how we can move around for now, no? So again, maayong hapon kaninyong tanan. O again, daghang salamat, Rico.
Thank you very much, Commissioner Mon. Daghang salamat. A few more greetings here. Bobo Madanggit of Bohol. More power, Sir Rico and Commissioner Mon. Graham McKinnon comes back again. Nice conversation tonight. Thank you for your insights, Commissioner Ramon, and best wishes for the development of Philippine sports into the future. Naipahabol si Gil Cortez, and I have to ask him because he's a good friend of ours. RD Rico, ask him about the Abbey Road in China. It's been exactly 1 year. Do you remember that?
Of course. We were together. Exactly. I saw iyang gi-repost gahapon man din nga ito.
Correct.
We were there when we watched the FIBA, no?
Yes, that's right.
FIBA
that's
Asia
right.
ba yun?
FIBA World Cup. The World Cup.
FIBA World Cup, rather.
That was in Guangzhou. You were staying in Foshan. You probably got so bored in Foshan. Nga niapas ka na mo sa Guangzhou.
That's why I had to go to where you guys were, no? Kaya nga mong hotel dito, puro furniture stores, ang the whole complex ang dito.
Wala gaya. O di, atapad na mo.
Hill, kumusta?
Alright. So thank you very much again, Commissioner Mon. I'd like to add to your thought about that and before we come to a close. No, but I also believe personally, that the best leaders of the country are those who actually have experience in sports. No, so of course it's biased, but this is where the people, if you get into sports, I think it will be a good material to make you a good leader as well. So with that, we thank you, Commissioner Mon, and I'd now like to present the next episodes that you'd see. I'd like to plug
Thank you.
I'll now plug our next episodes on Wednesday, September 2. We have a special chat with John Paz and Jacob Lagman as we talk about tennis, the US Open, and more. The US Open started today, Monday in the States, Tuesday here. Novak Djokovic is raring to win a US Open championship. The 2 hours, Rafa and Roger are not there. So we'll discuss that and more. So together with John Paz and Jacob Lagman on Wednesday, September 2. Then on September 7, as promised with Commissioner Mon, we'll talk about sports activities in the pandemic. Unsa ba gyud ang pwede o dili pwede, Doc? Dr. Roel Dehanyo is there. Dr. Nelson Cantillas will join us. Dr. Cantillas is a pulmonologist. Dr. Roel Dehanyo is, of course, the only accredited, IOC accredited doctor in the Philippines. So, and with that, we'd like to thank you again, all of you viewers, for joining us here. We say good night and see you on Wednesday with John Paz and Jacob Lagman. Maayong gabi, kanatong tanan.
Bye-bye. Stay safe.
Stay safe.